That was awesome. Did you catch the part about Albertans need to be a little less shy, not quite so reserved? If you were at Tucker yesterday, I think he said the same thing. We just need to be a little more bold. That was an excellent presentation. I mentioned it in my opening remarks. Jennifer from the Atchison Business Association, she wasn't here. She's here. She's right there. So you want to talk to Jennifer about Atchison? She's the person to talk to. Michele Evans provides leadership to the federal government's Regional Economic Development Agency in Alberta. Prior to joining PrairiesCan, Michele served with the Government of Alberta for over 17 years, most recently as Assistant Deputy Minister of Workplace Strategies at Alberta Labour and Immigration. She also held senior leadership positions at the Alberta Economic Development, Trade and Tourism, as well as Alberta Health and other departments. Michele has a background in health administration, economic development policy, and program delivery. She has successfully led teams across a variety of mandates, including initiatives that have increased access to capital for entrepreneurs, enhanced Alberta's economic competitiveness, and generated business growth and investment in key sectors such as life sciences, digital technology, and tourism. Before entering the public service, Michele worked in the private sector in the pharmaceutical industry. She is an active volunteer who believes in our collective power to strengthen communities. Michele holds a Master's of Health Science degree from the University of Toronto and a Bachelor's of Science in Pharmacy from the University of Saskatchewan. Michele is grateful to her husband, David, and her two teenage children, Dominic and Faith. And I'm supposed to tell you that she has a boxer, not the one we saw there, Pepper, who keeps her grounded. Would you please join me in welcoming Michele Evans to the podium?
Awesome. It's always fun to hear your bio and then realize, I'm just human. At least I am human for now. There may be some future artificial intelligence that's going to augment my capacity here. So thanks for having me, and I am really excited to be here representing the federal government, and we can have conversations after about all of the other federal government policies that you don't like and what's going on, and I'm happy to engage, because part of what we do at PrairiesCan is become a voice for the West within Alberta and within Ottawa, and try to make sure that we are helping Ottawa understand what's happening here on the prairies, but equally so, helping people on the prairies try to interpret and understand what's going on in Ottawa. And there is a lot going on in Ottawa. In the artificial intelligence space, where I'll start, we have just a tremendous amount of work happening, both within the Government of Canada and adopting AI for policy development, different kinds of use cases, but also within the regulatory environment and the strategic environment. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I did want to start, though, by telling you a little bit about PrairiesCan and what we do. We are one of 7 federal economic development agencies that are located across Canada. You might know us historically, we were called Western Economic Diversification. About 2 years ago, they split off BC to create PacificCan and created PrairiesCan, which represents Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. My region is just Alberta. And really what we're trying to do is grow the economy on the prairies, and we do that in a whole bunch of different ways. We're investors, so we'll invest in a variety of system projects directly within businesses. We'll help pathfind to other larger government department programs and funding. We'll help convene different tables and conversations that maybe others might not feel comfortable convening, or bringing different place-based economic opportunities to the region. And we'll advise. We have a lot of expertise within our team and some unique experiences. So we'll try to help people understand what's going on. Within PrairiesCan, we have a number of different priorities, and artificial intelligence is really one of those things that underpins all of them. You heard a little bit about what Cam was saying is artificial intelligence is really the future. There's going to be some tremendous innovation opportunities, and we have such a potential from this region to lead. We're interested in new value and competitiveness, growing off of those natural resource bases, the energy sector, our agriculture sector, here in Alberta Health and Life Sciences, in Edmonton. We've got a number of other opportunities within the clean technology space. PrairiesCan recently introduced a framework into the federal government on behalf of a former MP, Jim Carr, who passed away. He asked us to bring forward a Building a Green Prairie Economy Act to really do better together. And so we're going over the next year to start implementing that framework and really talking about how do we, again, build better together, get greater voice for people on the prairies, and also make sure that we're getting our share of what's happening coming out of Ottawa. One of the other areas we're really interested in is in inclusivity. And again, trying to figure out how do we lift everyone up. So a lot of Indigenous opportunities, a lot of newcomers, different populations, and trying to make sure that those businesses are successful as well. We have a tremendous amount of programming. And over the past 3 years in the artificial intelligence space alone, we funded over 18 different projects and $31 million here in Alberta. And we'll talk a little bit more in the little chat about some of the different things that we've done. But companies like Run With It Synthetics, Circle K cardiovascular imaging in the health sector, Onlia Enterprises doing artificial intelligence in the learning and development software, Vintry Technologies, who's doing support for the energy sector, and of course, Cam at Amy and the team at Alta ML, who are doing a bunch of other stuff as well. Norquest, Cybera, Lethbridge College. There are so much happening in this province around artificial intelligence, and so many great opportunities for you to learn and engage. But let me talk to you a little bit as well about what's going on in Ottawa. Cam talked a little bit about the Canadian Artificial Intelligence Strategy. The strategy has been around for some time, and certainly Cam and the team at Amy is one of the centers of excellence, but really that's looking at commercialization, standards, how do we set standards, how do we create innovation clusters, and how do we build the talent and the research that we need to make sure that Canada is successful. And that's blended into a number of different opportunities. There's an Artificial Intelligence Council, Advisory Council, there's global partnerships that Canada is involved with on artificial intelligence, and most recently, the responsible use of artificial intelligence. So with all of the opportunity and the good things, there is always the risk and the questions about what might go wrong. So one of the things that Canada is doing is taking a look at the regulatory framework, at the structure and the principles that we need to have in place around the responsible use of AI. And so some of the different things that we have are new pathways and new processes for using government, for using AI within government systems. So whether that's the directive on AI or the guiding principles or the required impact assessments that we're now required to do if we're going to use AI within government systems, that allows us to deploy AI in a responsible way and making sure that we have the transparency, that we have the training, and that we're making sure that we have the oversight mechanisms when we're deploying these things. And so there's a lot of information, if you go into the Government of Canada websites, about how we're doing that within the government, using our procurement systems, using all sorts of things to advance this, and hopefully, again, using that as a pull mechanism for some of these AI companies and demonstrating what we can do here. So again, there's a lot happening in that space for responsible AI. The other thing that I want to touch a little bit on is the Artificial Intelligence and Data Act. This is an act that is currently before Parliament, and what we're trying to do there is figure out what is the right regulatory framework to protect privacy, to manage and make sure that AI is being used appropriately and safely. In September of 2023, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry announced a voluntary code on the responsible development and management of advanced generative AI systems. So there's all of these pieces. There's an active consultation. There's a bill, like I said, before the House that has a lot of work that still needs to happen, but the act is certainly under development. So some of the things that I would just leave you with is there's a tremendous amount of policy work, regulatory work, investments in the ecosystem, opportunities for businesses to engage. And I think, as Cam said, we have to lead from this province. We have to make sure that our voices are being heard. So I would encourage you to take a look at some of those opportunities to make sure that if you have an interest that you're putting your information in, you're consulting on those sorts of things. Engage, engage, engage. Ottawa does not hear enough from people of Alberta, but it's so difficult to know where and when those opportunities are to engage. So one of the things that we're trying to do at PrairiesCan is make sure you know where we kind of share when those opportunities are happening and how you can best participate. And making sure that our people that have that expertise, people like Cam, Nicole, others, are getting tapped on the shoulder so that when ministers or others are having these conversations, that they're thinking about Alberta, they're thinking about the expertise here first, and making sure that our voice is being heard. Be curious. There are so many uses, as Cam pointed out, about AI, and they don't have to be as complicated as a wildfire solution or as complicated as figuring out which species of mosquito is on the cow in the field. You can do simple things, and we're seeing some amazing work coming out of the Business Link, which is one of our service providers for small businesses, using ChatGPT to create business plans for new businesses as business ideas. It's not perfect. It creates some interesting business plans, but it's a great starting point that you can then take, refine, and build off of. So get trained, participate in one of CAM's executive leadership opportunities, participate in one of the micro courses or the opportunities to learn at any one of our post-secondary institutions. Cam didn't talk about the work that they've just launched with the University of Alberta on an artificial intelligence program, a very, very broad training program to make that information available to all students. So just some incredible opportunities that you need to capture as leaders in this province. And I just, again, would encourage you and ask you to lead, be curious, and engage.